Hey everybody, welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm here with my adjudicating co-host Tucker Hazel, and we are here today for a fun little video, actually probably a big video,
Yes.
where we are going to be doing a tier list of Nintendo's top 50 highest selling published games of all time, from NES to Switch. These numbers come from VG Sales Wiki, but they were kind of a little bit wrong.
Yeah, in some places.
So we've done some independent verification,
Yes.
and now this list, to the best of our ability, is updated as of Nintendo's latest financial report, which came out in February.
Yes.
So this,
Which are the sales up to December 2023.
Yes.
And that's actually an important point to make because some of these bottom slots are close enough to where if we were doing this in like 2 months when there's the next sales report, games like Super Mario Bros. Wonder and Switch Sports would be on there.
Yeah.
But they're not because we don't know the sales.
Right.
We can make an assumption, but we can't say for sure. So as of December 2023, these are the top 50 highest selling Nintendo published games of all time. We say published because there are some things on there like Pokémon, which they didn't develop, and some other smaller things. But Nintendo, 50 games, and a lot of these games have sold really, really well.
Yes, they've sold really, really well. But just because they've sold really, really well doesn't mean we're going to be agreed upon where they should go on the tier list. So
doesn't mean they're all good. Primarily your favorite games.
I've come up with some rules here to make this happen.
Yeah, to make it a little more fun.
To make it a little bit more fun, and also to break some deadlocks.
A little more jocular.
Jocularity and deadlock breaking are our two main goals of these rules. So if we're deadlocked and we can't move each other, we will split the difference and put the game in that position. So to give an example, if I want a game in A, Tucker wants it in C, we'll put it in B.
Yeah.
If Tucker wants a game in S and I want a game in C, we'll also put it in B.
Yeah.
Because we'll split the difference, but then err on the lower side so that the games at the top of the list only represent what we both love.
The games in S and A.
Yes. Although,
What?
there is an exception. Well, there's actually a potential for up to 6 exceptions.
Yes.
Because we each have 3 vetoes, and we're doing this Ludwig style. So essentially, you've got one super veto. If you say, hey, I want this game in S or F or whatever.
Screw you. I'm putting it where I want it. Yeah. Let's use up one of your super vetoes.
Yeah, that's your only super veto.
Yeah.
You have 2 other vetoes. One of them is a rock, paper, scissors veto, where you say, you know what? Fuck it, we're taking this rock, paper, scissors. If you win the rock, paper, scissors, you get to put the game where you want it. But if you lose the rock, paper, scissors, your opponent gets to put it where they want it.
That's pretty dangerous.
Yeah. And the same...
Which means, ultimately, if things don't go according to plan, one person could get 5 vetoes and one person get 1.
Yes. Because the third veto is also another kind of fun one. You asked your opponent a piece of Nintendo trivia, and if they answer it correctly, they beat your veto. They get to put the game wherever they want it. But if you're able to stump them, obviously you win the veto.
So we each have the potential of 3 to 5 vetoes.
Yes.
Depending on our skill.
Yes. So... last thing, we're going to go from 50 to 1.
Yeah.
We've got these games now in order.
Which means that this is kind of an educational video. Put this on for your classrooms, teachers.
Yes.
Teaching the kids of what the top 50 highest selling games by Nintendo as of December 2023 are. This is very educational, very useful. Well, because, especially as we said earlier, the list that you find when you look this up is a little bit wrong. Hopefully you'll learn a little something from here. And learn how many units these games sold, where they sort of rank amongst the other Nintendo games. Let's start at number 50.
Start at number 50. I also if we were too loud at the beginning, sorry. I just changed the gain, so we're not going to be peaking anymore.
Yeah.
So we apologize for the last 2 minutes, but...
well, hey, the whole video will be peak.
It will be. Number 50, we have Super Mario Bros. 2.
Super Mario Bros. 2 USA.
Important to note that this counts both the NES version and the Super Mario Advance version.
Which kind of applies to basically every remake or re-release going up this list. And so when we get to, at the very top, something like Mario Kart 8, that includes Deluxe and the Wii U sales of that game. And then one thing that we had a little bit of contention on, and you might have a little bit of contention on, but it's how we ended up counting it for this list, is Pokemon remakes are counted. BDSP is a Gen 4 game, so... Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, and Brilliant Diamond, Shiny Pearl are all one unit on this list. The only exception being, even though technically Let's Go Eevee and Let's Go Pikachu are remakes of Gen 1 and Kanto and all that, those are counted as separate games.
They're counted as a separate game. We went back and forth about this, but ultimately they are not technically remakes of Red and Blue.
It's not Let's Go Red and Let's Go Blue.
Yeah, they're technically not remakes.
Yeah.
You can litigate this if you want. If you want to make your own version of this list, I will link this tier maker made in the description.
Right.
But I will also say that, frankly, I don't care that we're combining these games because it means that there's a more interesting pool of games. Yeah. Otherwise, it would be like 16 Pokemon games.
True. Yes.
So, yeah, so I would say...
Where's Super Mario Bros. 2? There it is.
Super Mario Bros. 2 is a C tier game.
C tier game? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll go with that.
We'll go with
I like that game, and I think especially its visual style and the iconography that it added, the diversity that it adds to, especially that older Mario game lineup. I think it really stands out. But even though I like it, I don't have a ton of fervor for it. Like it doesn't give me Jones.
Yeah.
And also important to note, we're not going to be ranking these within the tiers. They're just going to the fucking tiers.
Yeah.
Just deal with it.
Yes. And that sold 13 million copies. Next game, also in the 13 million copy range, very close, is Animal Crossing New Leaf.
For Nintendo 3DS.
Animal
Crossing New Leaf.
A tier.
That's an A tier game.
That's an A tier
Absolutely. Game. I love that game. It's great. I think it really fleshed out what Animal Crossing is and brought it into one of its more popular forms. And
my favorite.
Catapult it to popularity. And then that catapult got thrown out. And then there's an even bigger catapult that's throwing that catapult, which we'll get to later.
We'll get there way later because of the big sales gap.
A tier game.
Yeah.
One of my favorites on 3DS.
Donkey Kong Country is the next game. Also at 13.1 million units. This also includes the as we described already, but the Game Boy Color remake of this game. I don't think a lot of people know this game is remade on Game Boy Color because Donkey Kong Land. We're talking about this with our friend Bo.
Is on Game Boy. It's a different game.
It's a completely different game.
And then there's just Donkey Kong Country on Game Boy.
On Game Boy Color.
Sorry, Advance. No, it's Game Boy Advance.
Well, it's also on Game Boy Advance.
Oh,
but they've remade the game on Game Boy Color.
Really?
Yeah. It's a full 1-to-1 remake of the game.
Sure.
But you put it in B tier. I'm happy with this. It's one of my favorite games, but I also understand. We're actually talking to our friend Caleb about this. Last night he was talking about how it can be a fairly or fairly punishing game in some ways. And I do think that's true. I think that B tier is a fair place for this game. Yeah. So. Next, we have Super Smash Bros. Brawl. At 13.3 million units.
What an interesting game.
I think you got to put Brawl in A tier.
I think you got to... Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think if you asked me 10 years ago, I would have said it was S tier. Well, actually, no. I guess Smash 4 would have come out... Smash 4 was coming out by that point 10 years ago.
True.
Brawl was one of the most important games to me as a kid, and I still do think, even though it's been a long time since I played it, it's a game that sits very highly in my mind in terms of evolving Smash, I think, in a really cool way, adding Subspace Emissary, having there be tons of fun modes and stuff. This is a genuine truth about me. I don't know if I ever noticed tripping. Like, tripping is like the one thing people shit on.
I don't think I did either.
I played that game for hundreds of hours.
Yeah.
I must have tripped. Because I know that's a mechanic. I don't remember that, though.
Yeah, I mean, the reality of Brawl for me is I do not think it's aged especially well.
Sure.
Because I have played it some recently. Yeah. Well, actually, the Subspace Emissary mode, which is I've actually never thought Subspace Emissary was that good.
Sure.
But I think that Brawl as a complete package is exceptional. I mean, I am the Nintendo fan I am today because of Brawl. Yeah. Because of Masterpiece mode and stickers and trophies and everything. I learned so much from that game. I still think that it probably has the best breadth of content in the entire series.
Sure, yeah.
And even though I think that the fighting engine is just not as good as either 4 or Ultimate, again, I'm a casual player, but I think it's maybe actually the best for people who don't know Smash Brothers. I've found that with family who really just don't know the game, it's a good one to take them to.
A lot less buttons to deal with.
Yeah. So I'm very happy with a position.
Yeah.
Next we have...
I'm happy with a position for all of these. Hopefully I'll get a position.
Ooh, we have New Super Mario Brothers 2.
New Super Mario Bros. 2.
13.4 million units.
I think it's maybe C. That's where I'm starting the bidding.
I would put the bidding up to B tier, but I'm happy to leave it in C tier.
Yeah.
I think that this game is underrated.
Sure.
I think that with the coin rush mode... or the coin aesthetic and the coin rush mode where you play super hard levels to get coins. There are more new ideas in this game that people give it credit for, but that's not saying a whole ton. Yeah. It's polished, it's fun, but it's redundant.
It's rote.
Yeah. So I think C is fine.
I will say that even though I am a gimmick guy, and I like the idea that they're like just coins, just there's money everywhere. It's just the box art's gold, everything's fucking gold. Just gold coin block on his head. I think that's funny, but it is ultimately one of the least fulfilling gameplay gimmicks a game has ever had. Where it's like, we're basing our entire fucking identity around this. It doesn't really matter, though.
No, it's a weird thing of like the dopamine rush of getting like the golden block or the golden
It's a very transparent gimmick.
Yeah. This is actually the first game I ever got, like the first full price retail game I ever got digitally. I remember wanting this really, really badly. I remember getting, because I think this was a summer release, I got like a check from my grandma because I finished school. I finished the year of school and I got like good grades or whatever. So she gave me like $50 or something
Yeah.
that's enough for New Super Mario Brothers 2. So I had to explain to my parents I could use their credit card on 3DS to get a full price game or whatever.
Yeah.
But sidebar.
There are other better Mario games.
We've got another 2 game next because we've got Splatoon 2.
Splatoon 2.
At 13.6 million units. S tier. Easy S tier, I think.
And it does make it easier that this is the only Splatoon game that has cracked this top 50, which is interesting because we are 3 Splatoon games in. Of course, we don't expect Splatoon 1 to have made it. Splatoon 3 could.
It's at 11 something right now.
Yeah, so it could.
It could.
Depends on how long it takes to get to the next Splatoon game, to be honest.
Yeah. We'll see. But obviously, I love this game. Yeah. I think it took a little bit of time to get going. I was not very fond of it in 2017.
Sure.
Because there really was not that much to Splatoon 2 that year. That was oh shit, we just need Splatoon on Switch.
Yeah.
Which is better than a port, frankly.
Yeah.
But by 2018, you get Auto Expansion, you get Clan Blitz, you get all kinds of shit.
Yeah, no, totally.
I do think
that Splatoon 2, in terms of upgrading over Splatoon 1, I think it has a little bit better sense of personality. I think Pearl and Marina are much better than Callie Marie. I love... the Salmon Run is phenomenal. I think that's one of my favorite part of Splatoon, to be honest. Yeah. Had a solid campaign. I actually remember beating the final few levels of that Splatoon 2 campaign. Yeah, this is awesome. The music is going. Yeah, has a sense of spectacle. And of course it gets DLC, gets more updates, gets more modes, and by the end of that game, it's really fully featured. And part of the reason why I think some people end up feeling a little bit disappointed in Splatoon 3 is because Splatoon 2, by the end of its life cycle, was so complete. And Splatoon 3 is still working on getting there. There's some question marks with that one, but it is certainly for us the Splatoon experience that defines Splatoon. Even though I would say Splatoon 3 is a better game, it's not on here, so we don't have to make that fucking question.
No, I think with side order and fresh seeds and that kind of stuff.
But they also can be both S tier games.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, I think if it was Splatoon 2 at launch, I probably would have put it in B tier. But then I think it ended at S tier, which is really awesome. Yeah. But next game, interesting one here. We've got The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time at 13.8 million units. Ocarina of Time. There we go.
Oh, it's using the 3D box art. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking for the gold box art from the N64.
I would put Ocarina of Time in A tier, personally.
Okay.
Where would you put Ocarina of Time?
I didn't B. I think it's good.
Okay. I can take B tier.
Yeah.
I can take B tier. Obviously, if we were like my friend Ben Hayhoe's Lost in Cults, Ben Hayhoe's age, this would be a S tier game. Yeah. But I think B tier is fair. I really like Ocarina of Time 3D in particular. I'd probably put it in A, but I'm happy in B.
Yeah, I think the thing for me that holds back Ocarina of Time is there's nothing wrong with that game. I'm not playing damn, the level design sucks or the story's exceptionally stupid or anything. It just, to me, doesn't feel special. Yeah. It's it is a good game that is solidly made. But when I'm looking for something to be A or S tier, I'm like, wow, I want to pop, I want to spark. And because that game, to me, when I was playing it, was old and had there been other Zelda games after that I think add a little bit of pop and spark that I'm looking for and feel a little more distinct. Ocarina of Time is good, but for me, it kind of feels like a baseline. It's it's a comfortable middle tier good game.
I don't disagree with that. I think I felt that way. Felt the way you felt for a long time, and I still feel that way to an extent. But I think what I've settled on Ocarina of Time as being is just sort of iconic.
Sure.
Now, when something is iconic, it gets iterated upon, and more interesting things get done with it, like Wind Waker, which is my favorite Zelda game. But I think that I've sat with the iconic nature of this game, and it's gone up in my estimation. Sure. But I think B tier is fine.
Yeah.
Luigi's Mansion 3 is next at 13.9 million units, and I would put this in A tier.
Totally. So would I. I think this is a really interesting game to be on this list.
Yeah.
Because it's Luigi's Mansion. And I think Luigi's Mansion 3 is kind of the funniest game to sell a shitload of units on Switch.
Yeah.
A lot of games sell a lot on Switch, and especially grow their series to extremely high regard and sales.
Yeah.
But Luigi's Mansion was not one I ever expected to be blown up, to being one of the highest-selling games on Switch, but Luigi's Mansion 3 did. And that's just because it's a really good game.
It's a very good game.
It's a very good game.
I think it's easily the best game that Next Level Games has ever made.
Oh, yeah. It feels so complete. Yeah. It's big. It's rich. It has some of the best animation Nintendo's ever done. There's variety and little jokes everywhere. It's clever. It's focused. I really love it.
Next is an interesting one because I think it's one of 4 games I've not played on this list.
Yeah.
So I'll defer to you.
You're going to say Brain Age 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's next. Brain Age 2, more training in minutes a day.
14.8 million copies.
14.88 million copies. Aaron, haven't played the Brain Age games.
I haven't played.
I haven't played the... And also, we'll get to Brain Age when we get to that. But I played Dr. Kawajima's Brain Training on Nintendo Switch, and I played Dr. Kawashima's concentration training on Nintendo DS. Now, the reason that I haven't played Brain Age 2, even though I have a copy of it downstairs, is my copy of Brain Age 1 is in Austin.
Yeah.
I can't, in good faith, play Brain Age 2 before I play Brain Age 1.
Yeah, these games just passed me by when your psychopathy aside. I just never had these games as a kid.
I just want to get the lore. Kawashima lore. No, yeah.
I never had them as a kid. I've never
I did. Never played them, though. They just kind of sat there in my collection like, why did they buy this for me?
I had Big Brain Academy.
On DS?
Yeah, on DS. Sure. Yeah.
It's great.
And my mom actually was the most one who played that.
Those games might be... We'd agree might be an S tier. If it was on the Switch.
Yeah.
It is not.
The Switch one's really, really fun. But next, we're going to Smash Brothers for 3DS and Wii U.
It's an A-tier game.
Yeah.
Smash 4?
I would go B tier personally.
You go B tier for Smash 4?
I think my problem is I think that Smash 4 has lost everything that makes it exciting.
I agree. You know what? No, you're right. B is totally fine.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about Smash 4 is it kind of exists as a counterexample to something that you and I constantly talk about, is games being under-evaluated in their time and then being able to be re-evaluated by the continuation of a franchise. One example that we always give is 3D World, a game that was quite looked down upon as a just doing 3D Land again, and it was totally fair in the time, but then now that we got Odyssey, it's like, hey, actually that's a really great game. It always was, but Smash 4 is a game that, I mean, it was the best Smash game I'd ever played. And frankly, one of the most exciting video game experiences of my life is being hyped for Smash 4. And those trailers were the first time they really put effort into the trailers. And it was a great game when it came out. There's so much fucking content. There's so many goddamn trophies. And the 2 different versions and the lead up to launch and the DLC. Like, amazing, amazing experience. So quality. But because we have Ultimate, which is just the same game, but better in every way. There's only a handful of things. Trophies, Smash 1 on 3DS, a couple of stages that Smash 4 has to its own now. Brawl and Melee have their own identities in a way that Smash 4 doesn't.
Yeah, and there's no doubt that we are being hypocritical because we've got Splatoon 2 in S tier, but Splatoon 3 is on this list, so so fuck you. I want a Splatoon game in S tier. But I also do think that Smash 4 has always been flawed in that the game, I think, didn't have the wealth of single-player content that I really wanted it to have. Yeah,
and I would agree. I will say that I think that the... whatever the mode is where you play a certain character's like set of stages.
The classic mode.
The classic mode on 3DS was good. Really good. I played a lot of that.
The classic mode on 3DS really good.
You like choose your own little path. Like, I want to be a little harder. I want to get this. I want to get the trophy. I want to get a couple coins. I love that.
That was really good. But then you have the one on Wii U, which is not that good. It's moving the trophy around like a big open arena to pick other trophies.
Yeah. Which, if I can kind of recall, that was also kind of what the like viewing your collection of trophies was in Smash 4.
Yeah.
And so they just kind of reutilized that to like help you select. What the fuck was that?
Yeah, and I think like obviously I love Smash Run, but Smash Tour is not very good. I think that when you're looking at these 2 games together as 2 halves of this larger Smash 4 whole, I do think 3DS was the better game.
I agree. No, totally.
And so I think it goes in B tier for me when I'm looking at the sum of the parts.
There's 2 other Smash games that'll be higher, so it's not like we hate Smash.
2 other Smash. Oh,
Ultimate will go higher.
Yeah, and one we were replacing.
Oh, sorry, spoilers. Oh no, Ultimate's a better game than Smash 4.
Next, we're doing Pokemon Legends Arceus.
Okay, start the bidding.
I would start the bidding for this game. You just put your mouse over it. It's right there.
Oh god.
I would put the bidding. Being fair, I would put it in B tier.
Okay, yeah. I'll make that.
Okay.
Assumption. Coercion.
Sure.
I mean, actually, no. I'm gonna say because for me, this is an S tier game. I think this is one of the best Pokemon games that has ever been made. I think that it shows a growth from Game Freak that you almost don't feel in any other game that they have made, and an experimentation and a. I mean, I think it just nails also to me what Pokemon can be in a different way, where to me it's always been about that catching, and in this game it's a lot more about that catching than battles. And that shift in focus and the collection aspect and filling out the Pokédex in a much more granular and I think engaging way than just catching the Pokemon and putting it in your box, which I love doing. I do that in every Pokemon game. But I think it is the most different Pokemon game that's ever been made by Game Freak, and I think that is really, really important. And I think it's for me, easily the best Pokemon game on Switch. And so if I'm putting an A, or S rather, then A bounces out to A.
Yeah, that's okay. I mean, ultimately, I think I've warmed up on this game some in reflection, specifically after Scarlet and Violet, which is going to be an interesting part of this video. But I maintain that the battles, which is a really important part of the series to me, were just really undercooked in this game. But I agree that the sense of place was very nice. And I've been thinking that I want to play a little bit Pokemon again, and I don't know which, and I feel like maybe going back to Legends Arceus and just being in the world a little bit more.
I'd try that again with you.
Yeah.
But though there are games coming up, so it's not like we have to like, oh man, got no time, got nothing to do.
So, okay. I got bigger battles I have to fight for Legends Arceus.
Battles to fry.
Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee are next. And these games are very close to each other. They're both just cracking 50 million units. I put this game in A tier.
Sure.
I put this game in A tier.
I got nothing against that.
This is my favorite Pokemon game on Switch.
Sure.
And I don't have Kanto nostalgia really, so it's not that. I just think that these games are polished and fun, and they have a great spirit.
They're certainly the most polished games on Switch.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I love the look of them. I really do.
Actually, I think the might be the best looking Pokemon games.
and I think that the Go mechanics were really enjoyable.
Absolutely.
They're really enjoyable.
With these two games next to each other and both being on Switch, it shows an experimentality to Pokemon that had never really been attempted before. And so and they operate in so totally different spheres that it expands what Pokemon can be with, well, in both of them, really maintaining that core collecting and battling thing that was and still is the driving force of Pokemon. But I loved using my Pokeball Go Plus, Pokeball Go Plus. I had the ball.
I had the ball too.
Pokeball Go Plus. Is there a Go in it? Pokeball Plus.
That's Pokeball Plus. Yes. You were fucking me up with the Go.
There's a Pokemon Go Plus.
And then the Pokemon Go Plus.
Yeah. But I loved using that. I loved the motion controls. I love that they stripped out wild battles. I think that's one of the best things that really helps that game. I love the candies. It's cool. It's a good game.
It is a good game.
I'll put it in.
Next, we've got Ring Fit Adventure at 15.3 million units. Where would you start this conversation at?
Man, I don't know. It's interesting because from what I've played of Ring Fit Adventure, which is probably just under 10 hours, I have not been doing what I told myself I'd be doing with it. And frankly, almost everyone, that applies to almost everyone who bought this game. A lot of people bought this game, and they're not using it daily.
No.
But for a Nintendo game, a Switch game, a exercise game, it's like, whoa, crazy, weird, really high quality, incredibly big package, works so much better as an exercise game than everything else. But it's also a game that, because I'm not an exercise guy. I respect it a lot. I think this might be one of the games I most respect in terms of they actually fucking made this.
Sure.
It looks good. It has its own identity, and it is takes you fucking 80 hours to beat or whatever over the course of months. But it's like B tier for me because it's like I don't love Ring Fit Adventure. I conceptually love Ring Fit Adventure though.
B tier is also what I was going to say. I think it's an extremely impressive game, but for me it misses the mark in that it's too good of a workout, which is a weird complaint against the game. But for me personally, the reason I prefer Wii Fit, which we'll get to, is that Wii Fit is more of a game. Mm-hmm. When I want to work out, I want to go to the gym or I want to go for a run. So I find it hard to want to connect with Ring Fit Adventure.
Sure.
But that's a very personal thing. I think what this game seeks to do, and through being a truly solid exercise game with an RPG component to it, I think that it's very good. But I think B tier is fair.
Yeah. The funny thing about Wii Fit is it is supposed to be a fitness game, but it's not. It's not really. So it actually kind of fails at its own premise.
It's weird. I think that there's more fun to be had for me with Wii Fit, which I know we keep checking OBS just to make sure we're in frame, but
no, I keep checking OBS to make sure you're in frame because I know I'm in frame.
Yeah, I like to move.
You
around.
Drift. You're like a Joy-Con in many ways.
Yeah, let's go with Ring. Let's go there. I mean, we'll get to it, but I'd probably also put Wii Fit in the same area. Sure. But we'll get to it in time. Next, we're doing Pokemon Black and White with 15.6 million units.
15.64, yeah. Pokemon White here.
I would go S tier.
You go S tier? Okay. I'm going to go A.
Okay.
So do we err on the side of a little bit lower? I love Black and White. I mean, I think that is kind of when we talk about the Switch era games feeling very experimental and trying something different, Black and White is really the first time we felt any of that in Pokemon, because through Gens 1 to 4, it was very, okay, we're expanding this. Oh, we're adding online. Of course they're adding online. Okay, physical specials, but okay, that makes sense. But Black and White was them, like, refreshing completely and getting rid of the things that people had thought were getting stale, and showed a boldness from Game Tech. I think it's one of their boldest creative decisions they've made to completely start from scratch, and then continuing into Black and White 2, reintegrating that a little bit. What a great and interesting combination of games.
Yeah, I think that this is, for me, where the art direction was maybe the strongest. I think it's...
Those games look really good.
They look really good.
Can I say something controversial?
Yeah.
I really do not like the in-battle sprites for Black and White, because
I don't think that's that controversial.
Because they move. The pixel sprites, but they go... And it like kind of like blurs them a little bit. Like,
I don't know.
But the overworld sprites and like the 3D sort of camera and like the progression of the seasons and time of day and everything. It's one of the most like complete worlds of Pokemon.
I agree. The reason I would have put it in S tier is because I think it's the most cohesive vision that Game Freak has ever had for this series. They executed on it to the highest degree of quality off the bat.
Yeah.
It didn't need a platinum to get to a great point. The mechanics were solid. Yeah. The story was great.
Yeah. And that's why they didn't have to add a couple extra things 2 years later and sell it to you again. They made actually a different game.
Yeah, I think that was peak Pokemon for me, but I think A tier is fine. X and Y. I think it's... Well, here's the thing. Because X and Y is...
S tier.
Yeah, we can put it in S tier.
Absolutely, we can.
It is emotionally peak Pokemon for me.
Sure.
But I don't reflect back on Kalos or the story or the 3,000-year war and all this shit and care at all.
Yeah.
I think that ultimately this is our list, so our subjective feelings on this is going to dictate a lot of it. And this is the game that I put the most time into. It's the game that I completed the Pokedex in, and I made a lot of friends through. Yeah. So it goes in S tier. But I think that it's a step... To me, in terms of the overall quality of the vision, execution of the vision, it's a step down from Gen 5, but it's our video, we make the rules.
Well, yeah, I think it's interesting is that I would agree that in terms of being complete, Gen 5 absolutely was that. I think that more proves that the iteration of Pokemon that it's been so known for, leading up to that point, even though Black and White were a reset in terms of new designs for Pokemon, they were a very direct continuation of Gen 3, Gen 4, Gen 5. Pixel art gets a little bit better. The camera gets a little more dynamic. The story gets a little bit richer. And you can see that progression. But Gen 6, in it being 3D and trying different kinds of battles and having to make entire game from scratch in a way that they weren't able to reutilize engines and sprite work from previous games, it does, I think, sacrifice a little bit in terms of there are the areas where you feel like they were supposed to make a Z and what's going on a little bit with the story. But I think that in terms of art direction, it's my favorite art direction in Pokemon.
That's fair.
The big heads and I think the culture of Kalos, maybe second to Alola, is like incredibly well fleshed out. I think this has the most diverse set of towns. I mean, each of them feel so distinct. I think it has one of the best soundtracks. I think that the cast of characters around you in terms of your friends are a lot of fun. The fact there's so many of them. The dressing up, the character customization, I think maybe done its best in X and Y. And I think it has the best Pokedex of any regional decks. In that it's so diverse and every route has so many Pokemon that it's just a joy to play through the game in a way that I find a lot of Pokemon games, even something like Black and White, where the regional decks is more limited. You're running into the same things over and over again, but straight off the bat in Sandalwood Forest and X and Y, you've got like 20 fucking Pokemon in this one forest in a way that no other Pokemon game had. It just allows your teams to be diverse. I really love the 3D models that they did for them. I think it gives it so much more personality.
I mean, to be clear, I think that they're a step down, but I don't think that the step down that a lot of people say that are. I think, because we're talking about my two favorite generations here. And I do love a lot of the new Pokemon introduced. I think this is the last batch of Pokemon that I really loved before I became a boomer and said these stopped looking like Pokemon. But I'm kind of joking. But purely from my personal attachment to the game, it must be S tier. Next one is... It's in your hands. This is Super Mario Land on Game Boy. 18 million units. I think the only 2D Mario game I've not played.
Super Mario Land is interesting. It kind of falls into that same camp that I was talking about with Mario 2, where it feeling very different is a huge boon to me, because part of my issue with the 2D Mario series is that they end up feeling pretty samey. Same locations, similar physics, similar power-ups. But Super Mario Land being made by a slightly different team just completely eschews that. The physics feel different, the location is different, the power-ups are different, and it is not better than those games. It is not a more polished package, but I find it to stand out in my mind so much more just by being different and still being quality. I mean, it's not a bad game. It's not like, oh, the level design is shit or the physics are shit or something like that. So I'm going to put it in B. Okay. In my mind, it's like, I guess it is a B tier game in my mind, so that's why I'm putting it in B.
Yeah, I'm not playing
Does that make sense in the tracks? Like, if it gets B and I put it in B, does that... Okay. Let's do the math.
Happy to defer to you on that one. Next, we have Mario Kart 7. I think Mario Kart 7 is a I think it's a B tier game. I'm totally comfortable with that. I mean, my lower skewing opinions on Mario Kart would have me put it a little bit lower. But Mario Kart 7, I think, is very similar to Smash 4. Yeah.
In that you had, 1-2 years later, Mario Kart 8, that does all the cool things that Mario Kart 7 does, just looking better and with a more complete package.
I think that Mario Kart 7 feels really good to play. Sure. I think it has a good battle mode. It's got some really fun characters. Yeah. And kart customization is quite good in the game. It introduces gliding and introduces all of these mechanics. Yeah. But I just don't think that it goes far enough beyond, so I think B tier is a solid place for it. Now we've got Brain Age 1.
Neither of us played it.
Goes into haven't played.
Sorry.
Brain Age 1 sold 90 million copies.
That's really impressive.
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Another game that sold 90 million copies is Super Mario 3D World, again, between
I just want to clarify. I just want to point something in someone's mind.
Yeah.
Brain Age 1 has sold more than the best-selling Splatoon game.
Yeah.
It has sold more than multiple Pokemon games. It has sold more than Ocarina of Time.
It's sold it's sold more than most of PlayStation's exclusives. Yeah. It's sold more than most of Xbox's exclusives.
Yeah, absolutely. No, probably more than all of them. Is there any Xbox exclusive game that sold more than...
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
19?
Halo 2 and 3 have sold more than that.
Okay.
Although that's a moonshot for me, but I'm pretty sure they have. Those are the biggest entertainment launches across all mediums of entertainment at their time. But that was money made, so I don't know. But I'm not ranking Halo games. They would all be an S tier, by the way, if we were ranking.
I would use all my vetoes. Halo 1, Halo 2, Halo 3, boom, 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 get that shit down there.
Super Mario 3D World is an S tier game.
Oh, yeah, I love 3D World. Yeah.
I even prior to Odyssey, I loved the game. Mm-hmm. I think that it's so polished. It's so much fun co-op. I think it's the best co-op platformer ever made, in my opinion.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because I do think that the slightly slower pace of being in 3D allows for, and the fact that there's a little more space in the levels because you have a third dimension to work with, really, I think, allows for co-op to platforming to be a lot more flexible. And especially because they introduced the, get to the end a little bit faster than your friends, you get the crown, that kind of thing, adds a little bit of competition to it, which I think is a lot of fun.
Yeah. Next, we are going... this is so fucking big. I gotta do this. I gotta start pushing.
I see.
Yeah. There we go. Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the Kingdom.
20 million units, 20.2 million units. I would say A tier.
A tier?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I'll have to veto.
Okay. Which veto are you using?
Because I think this needs to go in S tier. I think this is the best game Nintendo's ever made, and so
you're using ultimate veto.
No. I'm using.
So we got to move this. Hold on.
Trivito.
We're gonna move it here. Okay.
Oh yeah. Okay. I'm gonna use the Trivito.
Okay. Trivito.
Danny DeVito.
Okay.
My trivia veto for you is going to be what chronologically is the first Professor Layton game?
I'm pretty sure you've told this to me. Because I know that the original trilogy progresses in order, and then I think the prequel game is after that.
Yeah.
I think you're playing it right now. I think it's The Last Spectre.
It is.
Let's fucking go!
Yeah.
Let's go to A tier.
I need to stop telling you things. I thought I would get... Oh, shit. Because here's the thing. Yeah. So we talked about this earlier. It's like, okay, I wanted to do a little research, so I had one to pull out of my pocket. What I was going to do, and I thought this would be too unfair, was to say, what is the fourth game? Yeah. And actually, I guess I wouldn't have messed you up that much, because if you had that same knowledge.
Yeah, it's on the Spectre.
Shit. I wanted it to be possible. Which maybe I shouldn't have done, frankly. Maybe that was a bad choice. Maybe I should have done something I didn't even know.
Well, now here's the thing. I'll calibrate my trivia question to that.
Okay, fair enough.
But hey, I could have said a lot lower for this. You losing your veto puts a game you wanted in S tier only into A.
No.
So I think that's okay.
I mean, but this puts us in the same tier as Let's Go, which is, I think, fucking inexcusable.
Well, the tiers are already kind of fucked at a certain point. This is about compromise. We're doing something that our government would never dream of. We're compromising. You're obviously the far right party in this situation.
Yeah.
No, I think Tears of the Kingdom is a really great game.
Yeah.
I think that. Yeah, I mean, we've done 2 discussions on this game. We don't need to litigate any further. We'll just leave it.
I've done 2 discussions.
Yeah, I've done 1 discussion. You've done 2 discussions.
We also talked about it a lot on the best games of the year list, so that's like
you've done
2.5.
You've done 3 discussions. I've done 2 discussions. Yeah. A tier, Tears of the Kingdom.
Fuck. You just got your potential 4th veto.
I know. Super Mario Party. I think Super Mario Party is a B tier game.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I think I will say C.
Okay.
In just that Mario Party doesn't appeal to me that much, and I think that this is one of the ones I've enjoyed more. Yeah. But it is also, I think, a pretty flawed game. I mean, in the fact that it has it's very limited in terms of the scope of it. Yeah.
I mean, it's limited in comparison to the ones I haven't played. Well, to me, because I've not really played the GameCube era of the series, the competition for me is really within the Switch games, and it doesn't have any. It actually probably has more content than Mario Party Superstars.
Probably,
especially when you have River Run and you have all of the different modes. Yeah, I don't know. I just think that this game is a lot of fun with a casual group of players, and that's something I value a lot because I've got a lot of friends who friends and family who don't really play games, but like the idea of playing games. And so games like this have a lot of value to me. Yeah. And I just think that it was a good return to form for the series. Sure. But I'm happy leaving it in the C tier. Okay. The Mario tier. Yeah. Maybe we'll rename it the Mario tier by the end. We'll see.
Next up, Wii Fit Plus.
Wii Fit Plus.
You can't drag it anymore. You're at the top of the fucking document.
Can I make a proposition here?
I haven't played these fucking Wii Fit games.
Can I make a proposition here? Wii Fit and Wii Fit Plus are right next to each other.
Yeah.
I would like...
Just talk with them. Get in the fucking frame.
I'm in the frame. How about that? You know what?
Put our booties together.
Okay.
There we go.
Well, actually, I don't need to make a proposition because I've not played Wii Fit.
Oh. Okay, so we have to put that in haven't played.
I was going to say let's rank them together, but I haven't played Wii Fit. I don't know why I was going to say that. I have played Wii Fit Plus. Yeah. Let's put it in B tier. Because, like I said, Ring Fit Adventure and it are 2 sides of the same coin for me. Sure. In that Ring Fit Adventure is too good of an exercise, not enough game. Wii Fit Plus is a lot of game, not a ton of exercise. Yeah. But, like, it notoriously gets everyone's BMI wrong and shit. But there's a lot of really fun games in there, and what I like about this game is it's part of this continuity with Wii Sports Resort, where you go to Woohoo Island in this game. There's a real sense of personality in it, a lot of fun soccer games and hula hooping and all kinds of shit. I think that this game, you would actually really enjoy it. Sure. Yeah. I think you'd really enjoy it.
I just have to somehow get my Wii Fit balance board from Austin, Texas, up to here.
I'm sure we could also pay like $8 on eBay and get the balance board.
The one with the other one. I don't need 2 Wii Fit balance board.
Cherish it. But, okay, we'll put it in B tier. I had a lot of fun with this game as a kid. This game was sold out for a long time as a kid. My parents were going to get it for me. I don't remember if it was for Christmas or for a birthday or something. But they were like, hey, we really want to get this for you, but we can't because it's sold out. And it took months to actually find a copy. But when we did, I was so happy. Yeah. So Wii Fit Plus B tier. I'm happy with that. Next, we're going to go, obviously, Wii Fit.
Super Mario 64.
Just to clarify, there are 22 million copies sold for Wii Fit, 21 million copies for Wii Fit Plus. Yeah. Mario 64. What do you think about that?
I mean, no. I mean, I'll disagree with you, but I think you need to say it to the audience. You need to say it to the public.
Well, I thought that you might agree, and then we would just put it on there. And it would be like shock value. I would put Super Mario 64 in C tier.
Yeah. Mario tier.
Where would you put it?
I mean, B tier.
But then we put it in C tier.
Oh, shit. That's a good fucking point. Well... Yeah, okay, I guess that's in C tier. The Mario tier grows.
Here's my feeling about Super Mario 64. I just don't... feel
care.
like I don't care.
Yeah.
With Super Mario 64.
Yeah.
My problem with Super Mario 64 is I feel like it doesn't retain much of what I like about Mario.
Sure.
It's obviously so visionary for its time, and I am in the group that says it does still control fairly well.
Oh, yeah, so do I.
But I just don't. I think that it lacks the imagination of the games both before and after it. I don't think this is a case of like Mario Bros. 1 where it was just setting a foundation.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much richness in 3 and in World that this game gets rid of.
Sure.
Now, obviously, it's to simplify. It was such a development challenge. I understand why 64 is the way that it is. But I just don't have any... I don't look at that game and feel much. I love certain motifs. I love jumping into the paintings. I love the music bob on Battlefield. I love certain things. But the latter half...
Knocks, baby.
Yeah, and then you get to the latter half of the game and the stages aren't that good. I think it falls apart. I don't know. I don't hold 64 in that high regard.
Yeah, and obviously neither do I. If I'm putting Super Mario 64, one of the best games of all time... that's its middle name.
Yeah.
Super Mario, one of the best games of all time, 64. On the B tier, because I largely agree with you. I mean, I think I like collectathon 3D platforming more. And so even though it is my second to least favorite 3D Mario, it is still a game that I enjoyed going through. And it's a game that I found relatively conflicted feelings on going through it, as I realized, as you've said, that the stages do get worse and the music starts to repeat, and the level motifs and themes are sometimes clever, but sometimes they're just shit floating in a void, which is, I mean, fine for something like 3D World, but a game like Mario 64 where it's kind of like interspersed, where like, okay, Bomb on Battlefield and Peach's Castle have a sense of place, but fucking TikTok clock or whatever, it's just like some shit. And it's like, I don't know.
We get one of my favorite Mario Kart stages at a TikTok clock, but yeah, I don't know. I'm happy with that.
You're happy with this tier where you put it? Yeah.
I do want to play Super Mario 64 DS though.
Sure.
Because that game has a lot more going on in it. I know people like it less for various reasons, but I think I might like it more.
Yeah.
I just never played 64 DS.
That, by the way, is technically counted.
Yes.
Which is why this is so high. Is 64 DS is an interesting one because it is actually a little bit more different, but it is Super Mario 64 DS. It makes sense why they would count them together. But so technically, we are ranking Mario 64 DS right now, which I've played like 20 minutes of.
22.9 million units on that. Next is New Super Mario Bros. U.
Sure. I start the bidding at B.
Oh, I was going to say I want to put it in B.
Actually, I start the bidding at C, to be honest. It's a game... Okay. You know, I counter start the bidding. I end the bidding. How about that? Because if we have to go on the lower end, this is one that, to me, exemplifies, frankly, even though I think it's a fine game, why I do not like 2D Mario that much until they reinvented it with Wonder. And of course, there's some other examples that I do find a little more personal value in 2 and in Land.
Yeah.
But it's just a 2D platformer that looks fine and plays fine. I find no levels of this game to be anything memorable. I find no power-ups of this game to be anything memorable. We played the co-op together, and I think unlike 3D World, it is a game that I don't feel that the co-op... Actually, no, we played the co-op for Luigi.
And
but 2D platforming co-op, I don't think really works that well. I mean, that's a big part of this game. It has some ideas, but not any ideas that like stand out to me as like, oh, this is the pinnacle in any way.
Yeah.
And so it just is a fine game. But
I think it has a lot of stuff that makes it in some ways the best New Super Mario Bros. Game.
Sure.
The challenge mode is very good. I like the Baby Yoshis. I even like the Acorn Power. I think there's some good stuff here, but I think it is ultimately bogged down by the fact that the core campaign is not that strong.
Sure.
What's around it is quite good, and I think a New Super Luigi U has a better entitlement to me arguing up to B than you does, than Mario U does.
Yeah, so but is Luigi might be counted under the sales of U?
I guess it is because it's
DLC.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's counted. But if you want to believe in C tier, I'm fine with it in C tier.
And also because copies of that game were sold as one copy.
My Wii U came with, because I had my Wii U in 2014, it came with both in the same disc. The combined sales out with the Switch version, by the way, are 23 million units. Most of that is Switch. It's like 17 million is Switch. Next, we have Mario Kart DS at 23 million. I think this is A tier.
I don't have that much experience with it, and I don't feel strong enough to use a veto on it. but I would say C tier, and so I think we have to balance out to B.
Yeah, I'm happy putting it in B. I think that Mario Kart DS has one of the best stage selections in the entire series. It also...
I'll trust you on that, I guess.
The individual vehicles for each racer, I think, also give this game a ton of personality.
I didn't realize it had that.
That is lacking from even Mario Kart Wii, which didn't do vehicle customization yet, but it basically had like archetypes and all characters used them. This game had really fun designs for all the karts that gave your choice of racer more meaning. And the mission mode is really great. The mission mode remains one of the best things that Mario Kart series has ever done. And you add just a good feel. The racing, I think the
one thing I do remember, best part of the game, there was a stage that was a DS. It was just a giant DS.
Yeah, for the battle mode.
Wasn't a very good stage.
No, it's not one of the better ones.
You also there's a little bit of a slope in the middle because it like transitions from one screen to the other. You kind of get caught on that. And, like
they did the same thing in Double Dash for a GameCube.
Really? I've never even seen that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of a tradition. I don't know if there's. I don't think there's N64 one 64, but actually there might be.
I don't think there is.
But
can you fucking imagine racing on top of an N64?
I would imagine it's probably the logo, but I don't. That's like it's like in my head somewhere. But I mean.
The one that's a giant Switch is so good in Deluxe. The one that's just the Wii U console, not the gamepad. The one that's just a console for 8. Just a big black box.
I still think it should be an A, but I'm not going to use a veto on this. I'm happy to leave that there.
We're running nigh low on veto spot.
Oh, just wait.
Holy shit! What is happening?
Super Mario Bros. 3.
Super Mario RPG.
And this has 23 million units sold. I say that this is an A tier game.
Okay. I think I'll go for B.
Okay.
Let me go a little bit lower. Anti 2D platformer bias occur here. Hey, how's it going?
Yeah, but
it's a fine game. It's a fine game. I actually like Super Mario Bros. 3.
I think that,
but I do not like it as much as I like Tears of the Kingdom, Legends Arceus, Animal Crossing New Leaf. Mario 3 has a spark, but it does not have a spark that saturates its identity enough for me to be like, yeah, I love this.
You don't think so? I think that this game has one of the most cohesive and unique identities across all 2D Mario.
Yeah, but it's unfortunately it's a straight up 2D platformer.
Sure.
Yeah. The genre is inherently less interesting to me, and so even with I love the little fucking Batuis that were walking along. I love the little jumping fire guys. I think the enemy design, I think the levels that they have, like the pipe world, I think is great. There's a lot that makes this one of my favorite 2D Marios, absolutely. But I don't particularly care for the overworld. The items are okay. Most of the levels aren't very interesting. Some of them are, but
I don't know. I think that it represents the peak for this style of 2D Mario.
I agree with that.
I prefer the world.
The peak and B.
Yeah, but I just think that when you look at the cohesive identity of the stage play gimmick, that brings us to a different framing for the Mario series than we ever had before. And I think that when you think about the big colorful blocks in the background of World 1, we immediately avoid the whole plains stuff. And
of course,
we go to the desert, we do the archetypes, but I think that they're remixed in such a unique way. And I love the castles. I think that the overworld exploration is better than in World, but
I agree with that.
I'm still not willing to use a veto yet. I have my veto games picked up. So that brings us to another game I have not played. The last one I've not played here. Nintendogs. Almost 24 minutes.
Okay, I played about 30 minutes of this earlier this year. And it's not my thing. It's
sure.
And from what I played of it, I think it's a game that you really need to play for a long period of time to really get the most out of it. You need to check back in, and which unlocks certain things over courses of days, and then you can probably play a couple more mini games with your dog, and there's dog shows that once you've taken care of them for a long enough time, you can unlock. And obviously you can have multiple dogs. But I'm talking about elements of a game that the game does not give you at the beginning. And as a first blush with my first try playing this game, there was so little for me to do.
So do you want to, you could put in haven't played.
I have.
Yeah, but have you played enough that you feel good giving it a position?
Yes, because this is one of those games where the first impression is so important to where it did not inspire me to play more, because what I played was just okay, sure, I might have a mini game where I can throw a thing to my dog, but do I want to play multiple days more of this game to get to that, which doesn't sound that much more interesting.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm going to say it's a D tier game. It is obviously a type of software that does not appeal to traditional game design, and I respect it from that regard, and it's really cool that it sold that much. But if we're talking about how I feel about these video games, I sat there and played. I'm like I'm just like touching the dog and it like barks, and I'm like, it's a digital dog, but not even.
Sure.
It's a digital dog. It's not a good dog.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I haven't played it. So that means the next game is Pokemon Scarlet and Violet.
Yeah.
24 million units.
Start the bidding.
F.
F tier game.
I said bidding F.
Okay. I say A tier.
Okay. Do you want to use a veto?
Well, no, because then that would put it in C, right?
No, if you don't use a veto and I don't use a veto, it goes in C tier.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to use a veto.
Okay.
To put it in F.
And you use your ultimate veto?
I'm not going to use my ultimate veto.
Yeah.
I am going to use my rock, paper, scissors veto.
Holy shit. Okay. This is a great one to use this on. Holy God.
I just want to take the I want to take the gamble.
I got to roll my sleeves for this one.
If you win the RPS, you can put it in A tier.
Oh, I know I can.
If I win the RPS, it's going F.
I like that you acronymize it.
We're just going one.
Okay, we're on
first to win.
Really? Wait, no, not 3. 1, 2, 3?
No. Sorry,
one round. One round.
Okay. If we tie, we keep going until there's one winner. Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
Holy fuck. Okay. Oops. Holy shit.
No.
That's fucking frustrating.
We have got a big discussion about this game if you want to go check it out.
God.
How many units did it sell? 24 million units.
Should have been more.
Well, next one. Pokemon Sun and Moon. 25 million units. I'm following your lead here. I would not say S. I would probably say...
But you said you're following my lead.
In that you want to start at S, I would start it at B, so it'll go in A.
Oh, man. I'm not going to use another veto to try to move it up one spot. That's not fucking worth it.
It's not worth it.
Wait, I should have counter-vetoed your Scarlet with my ultimate veto.
You want to go back and do that?
No, I think it's... Do I care? What do I care about?
Here's how I would feel if I were you. Here's my mind space. I'm using the vetoes in the games where I know that we have such a difference of opinion on that I'm fighting for the majority of the tiers here. You'd be fighting. I don't know if you're still thinking of your counter veto, but if you're thinking about vetoing to get Sun and Moon,
no, I'm not doing that.
Because I think Sun and Moon are a good game. They just didn't leave much of an impression on me. And I know you love them, so I think A tier is a good middle ground. If you want to counter veto, if you want to use your ultimate veto,
yeah, I'm just looking at what else is coming up here.
You could also take me back to rock paper scissors. I wouldn't recommend.
Okay.
It.
Ooh, I'm gonna counter veto.
Okay.
Scarlet and Violet.
Okay.
And I'm going to counter with my ultimate veto.
Okay. That's fine.
Because I really, and obviously this is just our disagreement, especially about this game, but I strongly believe it's one of the best games that Game Freak has ever made. And I think it's one of the best games on Switch, and one of the best Pokemon games. And so I'm not going to put it into S, even though
you can. It's your ultimate veto. If you want to put it in S, that is your prerogative. I can say nothing about it. You are 100% within your right to put Pokemon Scarlet from F tier to S tier.
What's fucking happening? Oh, Keaton Hazel. Screw off. No, I'm going to put an A. Okay. I'm going to put an A.
What? You don't want to put an S?
No, because the S tier games are Pokemon Sun and Moon and X and Y. This is a little bit below that.
No, Moon is an A.
No, actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Like, I can't in good conscience have Scarlet above Moon. Or Legends Arceus.
Next, we are doing Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Okay.
I'm going to get crazy with you here. I put them in A tier.
Okay, I put them in B.
Okay.
I mean,
that's fine.
Yeah, they're good games, and I had a lot of fun playing them when they came out. I think that one of the best things that they did for Sword and Shield is hide actually a lot of the new Pokemon that they added. And so I remember getting this game in November of 2019 and wandering into that first area, and because I think this game did the Pokemon in the overworld so well in terms of them walking around in the grass and stuff, walking into the grass and seeing a Nickit for the first time, and seeing, I guess we knew about Wooloo, but Rookidee. We had seen Corviknight, but we had not seen Rookidee. And so walking into this area and seeing new Pokemon in the overworld for the first time ever in the series, because there's no new Pokemon in Let's Go, was a really, really fun experience. And I think Galar is cool, but I think it's a really half-assed region in some ways.
Yeah.
The story is, there's some characters that are cool, but it's a half-assed story in some ways. Jesus Christ, especially you get to the end of that story and they're like, we gotta pick it up. We don't have the fucking budget to like fully flesh out these storylines and stuff. It's a game where it evolved Pokemon in a really cool way. I think it has a lot of its fun identity. And I think the gym battles are maybe the best in the series because of that spectacle. But it also it's a half-assed game in some ways. And so it ends up in B.
Yeah, I don't know. I just had a lot of fun with it. I played a lot of it. I think it's just very...
Oh yeah? So did I, and so did I.
I think it's just a very playable game. I think it got a lot of unnecessary shit for the national dex thing, which I just don't.
Totally.
I just don't care about. Frankly, I don't know. I think that they are, in my opinion, especially compared to what we then got after. I think that
better games.
I feel that they are better on the whole in terms of the quality of them, and then in terms of ambition without sacrificing a sort of a baseline quality there. Even though there's a lot of things I would change about them for sure. And again, it's a very subjective one. I played it a lot during COVID. It was a very important game for me at that time.
And you also have experience with the DLC, which are apparently
the DLC is very good. Both the DLCs are very good. But Super Mario World is next.
Super Mario World.
I put Super Mario World in the C tier.
That's fine with me.
I think that Super Mario World...
God, this makes people so fucking mad, dude.
I don't like Dinosaur Island all that much.
I think it actually is the worst location that I get. Like the level design and aesthetics are totally fine.
I don't think they play enough into the idea of it either being a dinosaur world or an
island,
or an island, or the desserts names that they have. I just
it's like Choco Mountain, yeah.
No,
that's in Mario Kart.
Choco Mountains,
but maybe they pulled it from.
I think
or like Choco Peaks or something like that. And it's like, okay, it's a fucking brown mountain. It's a brown mountain. That is actually a worse level design than just a normal mountain. You just made it fucking brown.
Yeah, I just also don't like the way that Mario feels to control in that game.
Yeah.
I just don't like
that game. And I also think that a lot of the dinosaur enemy designs that they introduced are less creative and less memorable and less interesting. And there's a reason that largely they haven't been brought back. I mean, I kind of like the one that you gotta step on twice and he becomes a little fucking Tom and Jerry like squatty guy. But like mostly they're just kind of like, I mean, like, what's the fucking, like, Triceratops boss that you, like, bump on the bottom in that one, like, mini-boss fight?
He comes back and he's Super Mario.
He does. Why?
This game does give us the Koopalings, and I'm a Koopalings fan.
Yeah, of course you are.
I don't hate the Koopalings. I'm a Koopalings defender. But, Tucker,
God, the Mario tier grows.
We are now on to Super Mario Odyssey.
We are.
With 27 million. I go A tier.
I go S tier? Jesus Christ, this really limits our fucking S tier, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Jeepers creepers. I gotta say my last veto. I can't fucking veto it up one tier. I've been doing that too much. I've been thinking about it too much.
Yeah. I really do like this game a lot. I think I went through my generally unhappy in life phase wherein I was very critical of a lot of games I didn't need to be.
Sure.
When in reality, I think that Super Mario Odyssey is an excellent game.
Yeah.
I still maintain that I have issues with the moons and various things, but it ultimately doesn't really matter when the game feels this good to control. The art direction is this good.
Yeah.
It's just so joyful. I just, it doesn't quite crack the S tier for me because I wish that it was a little bit more cohesive. I wish that there was a hub world or something that tied it all together. And I think that
you don't like walking around in like 5 feet of Odyssey?
No, I think that the capture gimmick, it's uneven to me.
Sure.
I think it just doesn't. Some of them, I love the Sherm. I love when they really influence your environment. But I think a lot of captures are just kind of fine.
Yeah.
So.
I think what really endears me to Super Mario Odyssey is that it isn't all go, go, go.
Sure.
And that it is willing to have something that is not a fully fleshed out gameplay mechanic because it's funny.
Sure.
You throw a cap onto a tree, you jump around for 5 seconds, if that. It's like 3 hops.
Yeah.
And it's funny. It's stupid. And now you fill out your fucking capture decks or whatever, and one of them is a tree. And you're like, that was in one area of the game, and it did absolutely fucking nothing, but it's funny. And I think that this shows the humor that the Mario team has. I think that it has probably some of the best, even if not cohesive through the entire thing, cohesive within each world.
Sure.
Luncheon Kingdom having little guys that are forked, and they lift up the little fork tines and do that. And like each place has a culture, and in terms of menu design, this is the most cohesive it's ever been. Having the little maps or the brochures, and I think each this has the most hit per hit of each of levels being good to not memorable. Because I think most Mario levels are either great or not memorable, and I think that so many of the worlds in Odyssey are great, and then like maybe 2 of them are not memorable, and that is like a way better saturation point than. Galaxy's a great game, but there are a lot of Galaxy levels that you never think about. Sure. You think about the best ones, and I think that for me, it becomes more of a saturation of quality. That I think this game, in terms of its soundtrack and its art direction and its variety, is fucking second to none.
Yeah, I mean, I think areas like New Donk City and Lost Kingdom and Luncheon Kingdom, and I really like Seaside Kingdom as well.
Yeah.
But I do think that there are some that are just not that good. I think Lake Kingdom is fairly unmemorable.
Sure, it's kind of just Seaside Kingdom again.
Yeah, Ruined Kingdom is a bummer.
Yeah, of course.
It's always going to be a bummer. I think. Yeah, I don't know.
But then there's Moon. That's great. Mushroom Kingdom. That's great. The desert one. That's great.
It's like Toast Arena is really good.
Yeah.
Toast Arena. I love how dynamic that one is too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think A tier is
totally fine.
Is a great place for it. We play 28 million units.
Do we?
We do. We did.
We did. We played.
I put it in B tier.
I put it in C tier. No, wait, that's the Mario tier. Okay, can we make a C2?
No.
C2 tier? Yeah, but I put it in C tier. I think that this is a good example of Nintendo being weird with their Wii software.
Sure.
But I think it's also one where it is very much early motion control software.
Yeah.
To the point where it's just not... It's not fleshed out. It's interesting ideas, but you play them for 10 minutes and you're kind of done with them.
Yeah, I guess it's just a matter of perspective because this is a game I've played probably dozens of hours of. I really value simple games. A lot of my favorite games are very simple games. Yeah. And I just think that the simplicity here with some really nice art direction, that really encapsulates the feel of the Wii. With the menu schemes and how the UI looks and everything. I really appreciate that. And then you play like the cow tipping game and you're playing fishing, you're playing Wii Tanks. I think that a game that can inspire...
I'm going to say the worst thing I ever said. I didn't like Wii Tanks.
I don't care. I think when you can inspire that kind of...
Oh shit, it's the mob. They got fucking pitchforks and torches. I said we play tanks, wasn't that fun? Oh god!
I don't know. I just think that there's a lot of simple, accessible fun to be had here, and there's very few companies I think that traffic in a simple, accessible fun this way and make it work like this. Yeah. But I'm not going to use my veto quite yet.
Yeah, to move We Play up one spot.
Duck Hunt, 28 million units.
How much Duck Hunt have you played?
Not a ton. I've only played on Wii U Virtual Console. I think it's a D tier game.
Yeah, I agree. Duck Hunt is interesting because it is kind of in a similar way to like Wii Play and like the original Wii Fit is a cool idea for variety of what video game software can be, especially in the way that it markets the NES as something that is more of a toy because it's not really a game in the same way. It's using a physical gun, and that's cool. But I've played a lot of Duck Hunt on NES. One of my favorite things when I was the retro kid in my high school is having my friends come over and setting up Duck Hunt or Punch Out. And we didn't really play the traditional, like, okay, we're going to play just Mario Bros. Yeah. We played Duck Hunt, and Duck Hunt was something cool to show a friend for a few minutes, but it ultimately is a game that is intentionally without very much depth. And it also is a game that, even with the depth that it does have as it gets faster and harder and requires more precision, it's a game you can cheese the fuck out of. Because if you're not in a big enough room or with a big enough TV, it's easier. It's easier because it is a physical thing. It's about the screen turning black for a second. You just put the fucking gun up the TV and so it's cool for a few minutes. But
it's very of its era. I mean, systems older than the NES had light gun style games. This was very popular at the time.
Yeah.
But I just don't think that there's much to latch on to in Duck Hunt. I never really have.
Mostly I like its aesthetic. Yeah, the pixel art is a lot of fun. I like the little animations.
The duck and the dog are expressive, but it's a boring environment.
Well, it's like two environments.
Yeah. New Super Mario Brothers Wii, 30 million units. Yeah. I would put this game in B tier.
I haven't played. I have played it when I was a kid, but it's been like 12 or 13 years since I've played any of this game, and it's one that I'd like to give another shot.
Yeah.
I don't expect I will learn much from playing it, but I'm a sicko completionist fuckwad, so I feel like I should. But okay.
Yeah, there's a number of things I really like about this game. I think that it was a really thoughtful riff on New Super Mario Brothers, bringing in co-op to the series for the first time and tailoring this to be an experience that everybody can enjoy with the Luigi assist mode and the idea of the bubble popping, put your player into a bubble. I am generally more fond of multiplayer New Super Mario Brothers than you are, so it's inherently a cooler thing to me.
I will say that, at least from what I remember and what I know about Wii, I think it does it better than you because the camera zooms out a little bit farther. Like, these levels are very big, especially because you have that propeller cap that allows you to go vertically so high. The camera is always zoomed out pretty far, and it's still readable, but I think it does make it a little more playable because there's just more space in these levels.
And
they're a lot less precise than the U stages, I think.
Well, Luigi U is what we were playing.
Oh, sure,
Luigi U was designed to be a harder game. Yeah. Which is just not it doesn't work as intuitively with what they were trying to accomplish. But I think you throw in the propeller suit, you throw in the penguin suit, there are some really fun power-ups, the return of the Koopalings. I think this game was a very specific moment in time, and I also have a lot of fond memories of it. So I'm happy with it in B tier.
I gotta be honest, I associate that game so heavily with red, it does not look right to me to have most of that thing not be red. Like, in my mind, it should be basically just red box art with the New Super Mario Bros. Wii logo on it. But it's the box art.
I associate that image more because of the Nintendo Power at the time and that being on the cover and those renders were all over the place.
I think they might be my least favorite renders and might be my least favorite Mario 2D Mario box art. It's so fucking black. There's no personality to that cover.
Yeah. Next, we have The Legend of Zelda. No, we don't. Sorry.
What?
We have Wii Sports Resort.
We do.
33 million units.
All right, gotta put this in the haven't played.
I have played it, so I get to put it where I want, and we're putting it in S tier.
Okay.
I think that this is one of the most exceptional games Nintendo's ever made for the widest number of people. The depth of this game is really exceptional. All of the different activities have sub-activities and great progression and things to unlock. And
what do you unlock?
You unlock the new modes is what I'm saying.
Oh, sure. Okay.
As you play and you improve your skills, you hit certain milestones, you unlock different times a day to go flying or different ping pong modes you can try out and things. And so from a wealth of content perspective, it's head and shoulders above any of the other Nintendo sports games. Mm-hmm. But I think it also curates a sense of place better than almost any Nintendo game.
Sure.
With Woohoo Island. And the extent to which they render Woohoo Island and how all the different activities are really placed within it and you come to learn different dimensions of it. I think the Wii Sports Resort is an astounding game and one of Nintendo's best casual games ever.
Yeah. I've yet to be astounded because I haven't played it.
We should play it together. We can play it now.
Yeah. You didn't invite me last time you played it with your girlfriend.
I only have 2 Wii Motion Plus controllers. Cringe.
Are there 3-player games?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
Yeah, you can play... It doesn't matter. We don't have to litigate that right now. But next game is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. S tier.
Yeah, no fucking question. Goddamn.
S tier.
Holy shit. It's not one that we can really explain much about, because this is I think maybe the most talked about game of the last 10 years in terms of its influence and its iconography and how universal this game was as an experience.
I mean, it's probably the culturally agreed upon best Nintendo game ever. When you look at the number,
it could be culturally agreed on best game of all time. Over time.
Yeah, and I wouldn't have any objections to that being the case. So. You did a really good, really long discussion with, I think it was Brendan and Bro, right? About
why Breath of the Wild is such a phenomenal game.
People should go check that out. But we're now into the top 10 here.
Well, let's talk more than 10 games, unless I can't count. Wait, what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. What the fuck did we do wrong? How's it possible? Let's just keep going and we'll see what happens. Something went wrong here. Oh wait, where's New Super Mario Bros? Are we still getting there? Where's New Soup? It's not on there.
No, sorry, I skipped it.
Oh. Oh, you just went straight to Wii Sports Resort.
The problem is we got some of these bolded because we had finished fact checking them.
And those draw your eye a little bit.
It drew my eye, so I probably made the mistake again.
Yeah. Somewhere else. We'll figure it out. Don't worry. Let's just keep going.
Okay, but we're going to double back to New Super Mario Brothers at 30 million units
we noticed
sold.
it.
Yeah, this is number 14.
Yeah.
This, to me, is an A tier game.
Okay. I'll put it in B.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a very good game.
I think that it is unfair, in my opinion, to loop this game in with the other New Super Mario Brothers games.
I absolutely agree with that.
Not only because it was the first, but because it still has a number of gameplay and visual ideas that never came back in the series.
Yeah.
And it's a lot more distinct. I love the side modes.
Absolutely.
But people do falsely attribute those to this game.
Yeah, they're 64.
They're from 64 DS, but
But also those games launched like simultaneously, right? So
no, there's about a year between them.
New Super DS came a year after the DS.
It's 2006, I believe. Although I might be wrong, or 2005. I don't remember. They're not concurrent. But the 2-player mode where you're playing as Mario versus Luigi, and you're stealing stars from each other, and you're jumping into the blue shell.
I mean, that was one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah, I think it's a ton of fun. So I'm happy leaving it in B tier.
And I think it also. I think it does the visual identity cool things less than 3. I think 3 has a little bit more of its own personality, but I think it does a really cool thing in recapturing some of the coolest elements from 1, 2, 3 world, land, 6 golden coins, all that, and putting it under what at the time was a really cool refresh for Mario's art style that became rote after a while. But when you think about how different Mario's art style had been up to that point until this was just another cool new take on Mario's art style. And I think this, more so than those other games that came before it, upgrading Mario's moveset in terms of adding wall jumping and ground pounding really adds a lot of dynamicism to the environment. And to me, the Blue Shell, Mega Mushroom, and Mini Mushroom are some of the best power-ups that have ever been had in terms of how they allow you to access secrets. And even though the Mega Mushroom is allows you basically to skip the level. It's a lot of
really
fun.
Gimmick.
And the Mini Mushroom letting you slip through some little corridors and stuff. It's a thing that a lot of Mario power-ups ended up not doing going into the future. But I think they're really, really handled well here.
I agree. I think it's a great game. I think it's a truly great game. Trying to get back on track here now. We're going to do Tetris.
Okay.
We'll figure out what game I missed later.
Yeah, something happened.
It doesn't matter. We'll get there. But Tetris, to be clear, this is NES and Game Boy Tetris. Yeah. I think it's C tier.
I said B tier, so I guess then it goes into C tier.
Yeah.
I've actually played a lot of NES Tetris.
Yeah.
I had it all. That was one of the first games I had on my NES, and I would really rotate for myself between this and Dr. Mario.
Sure.
Dr. Mario is the better game to me.
I
don't think Tetris is a better game. Tetris is a better game than Dr. Mario, which is a much smaller bubble and doesn't evolve as much. And obviously something like Tetris Effect is
one of my favorite games ever.
Yeah.
But adore it.
As what Tetris is, I do think that it has been done better. Yeah. And so I can't really, in good faith, say I love NES Tetris as a game. It is good fun. It's solid.
Yeah.
But Tetris, I grew up with no reverence for Tetris NES. And so I like Tetris, but I don't love Tetris.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I just don't think that Tetris Effect Connected is one of my favorite games ever. It's probably my second favorite game of all time. And depending on the day, it is my favorite game of all time. But I just think losing some of the mechanics like holding really hampers my enjoyment of these games.
Yeah, totally.
And I also do think...
It feels like something's missing.
It feels like something is missing. And it also feels like... That's not how I want to start the sentence.
Yeah, that's probably good. Scratch that. Reverse it.
Reverse it. I just don't find the baseline Tetris aesthetic very interesting.
Sure. Oh, I would agree with
that. So much of what makes Tetris Effect...
What about Russia? You like Russia?
C tier is good.
I will say though,
Yeah.
maybe the best soundtrack. I like the couple songs in Tetris. I think are fucking phenomenal. I love those Tetris songs.
Yeah.
Next,
Mario Kart Wii.
Mario Kart Wii.
I put Mario Kart Wii in A tier.
Okay. I put it in C tier, so then it goes in B tier. You gonna veto it up one stage, huh?
I'm not. I think Mario Kart Wii is exceptional in a couple small regards. I think the introduction of automatic steering prior to steering assist made this game playable to anybody, to where my family, myself, my sister, and my parents would play this 4-player almost every night. Mm-hmm. And there's a very small group of games that have ever allowed that to happen. And I think Mario Kart Wii was designed in a very smart way, like Smash Brothers, to where it has so much appeal for a casual audience, but it does also have very competitive multiplayer. This game is still played by people competitively.
Yeah. I had this is actually a different game, but DS, just we're talking about online.
Yeah.
I had a guy that I knew in band in high school that was like one of the top speedrunners of Mario Kart DS.
Cool.
And he would talk about snaking all the time because it's a big thing in Mario Kart DS.
Well, snaking was also fucking broken. They didn't mean to have that in the game. I think, now I might be wrong because I had never played Mario Kart Wii competitively, but I believe it is. I believe it's better balanced.
Sure.
To where that's not the case. And the other thing this game did that I really loved, that I don't think a lot of people talk about because it's hard, you can't experience it anymore, but they had a weekly challenge you could do online and compete against other people and compete for a better time. And you would get little messages sent to your Wii message board afterwards. And the game had a really great long tail, interestingly, that kept the community engaged. And I had an amazing time with it.
Yeah. See, the problem with 2D platformers and racing games is they're just not that fun, and so it gets bumped down.
See, that's annoying because you don't have any good reason to put it in C tier.
We're talking about our feelings on the game.
I know, no, I know, and that's it because it doesn't ultimately matter.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
but it's like I have no.
Yeah.
I do not have fun thinking about Mario Kart Wii. I never think about Mario Kart Wii. My memories with that game were, I played it for 30 minutes with my friends every once in a while. But for me, it was a very much the game that was on at parties, at houses where my parents were going to to a party with their friends, and they shut their kids in the other room.
It was a universal game.
Yeah.
For people our age.
And for me, that kind of gives it just a blah feeling, where it's just everyone played it, but it's like sitting there poking the stick in the ground, just bored. It's like something to do when you're bored.
I mean, there's two ways to interpret that. It's either, everyone played it, so it's whatever, or it's everyone played it because it captivated that many people.
Sure. Yeah.
And I just see it as on the captivating side.
Yeah.
And it also has a very good battle mode. I really like the Mario Kart Wii battle mode.
Never played it. I honestly think I never touched it.
Yeah.
I played the DS one.
Yeah, the DS battle mode is good. I think Wii or 8 Deluxe has the best battle mode in my opinion, but... Gen 3. Pokemon Gen 3.
Represented
37 million units.
Pokemon Emerald.
But this also includes Mega Ruby Sapphire.
Yes.
Mario Kart Wii also...
Ruby and Sapphire.
Yes.
Just to be clear.
Mario Kart Wii did sell 37 million units. More impressive... It's actually more impressive than most of the games above it because it's combined Pokemon versions with remakes. Mm-hmm. That's just an interesting thing to note.
Yeah.
Because, like we said, this is 37 million copies for Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald, and Mega Ruby Sapphire together.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be happy in B or C.
Okay, I put it in A, so we'll end up having it in B. Gen 3, especially through ORAS, I think is really a lot of fun. I think that the identity of Hoenn is so cool, and especially once you get to it being re-realized in ORAS, I think that, again, with the aesthetic of X and Y being carried over, those are some of the most one-to-one games in terms of what they look like. The characters with the bigger heads, and I think this has a really saturated color palette that I think lends itself really well to the smaller screen of the 3DS. I think that I'm mostly going to be talking about ORAS, but Soar I think is one of the best things ever added to Pokemon. The fact that you could go to little portals and catch the legendaries from other games in ORAS, but even just in Hoenn itself and from those base games, the routes are good and the characters are fun and the music is phenomenal. And I don't love Hoenn's new set of new Pokemon, but they're good, they're fun, there's something there that I love. And It's certainly not my favorite Pokemon games because I do think that Hoenn and the Hoenn decks are less interesting than some other regions. Some of the ones that I think like have a stronger identity, but it's what I think of just like solid good Pokemon fun, especially when you get to ORAS and there is a little bit of there's not character customization in ORAS because you're just as Mayor Brendan, I think, pretty sure. But you've got Sword, you've got Mega stuff, and they do recontextualize and get the Delta episode.
Yeah,
it's good. It's good.
Yeah, I don't know. Hoenn's a region that I like the region of itself. I agree with you about that. I like the Pokedex, but the games just don't stick with me that much. Yeah. I like Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire fine. What
about, you like Pico? You remember Pico?
The bird?
The Wingull.
Yeah, I remember Pico. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. To me, it's just good. Yeah. Gen 3 is just good. But I don't have any great feelings about it. Okay. Next, Diamond, Pearl, Platinum.
Yeah, and also BDSP. Yeah.
I'm going to go B tier.
I'm going to go B tier as well. And now that's pretty interesting for me because Pokemon Pearl and Platinum are probably the games, or like one of the top 3 or 4 games that I have like most nostalgia for. Yeah. Pearl was my first video game. And so it established a lot of the baselines of what I liked out of video games. Yeah. And the idea of trading and collecting and exploring all that stuff really instilled in me some of the things that I still hold today. But I haven't replayed Platinum. Yeah. But I have, in the last couple years, played both Shining Pearl and Pearl. Yeah. And I don't actually, even though Pearl's my first video game, I don't actually think they're that good. I like the region of Sinnoh. I like some of the characters. I like the new set of Pokemon. But for me, it's more a vibe of nostalgia that keeps it going for me. But those games are very slow, and the regional dex is actually bad, and some of the pacing is a little bit weird, and Team Galactic is fun, and I like some of the like iconography of Mount Coronet and the Distortion World, and Darkrai is cool, and Arceus is cool, and like the vibes of Sinnoh and Gen 4 I think are really, really good, but on a design level, I think they might be on the lower tier of Pokemon, which is just sort of a conflicting opinion. I just don't, I don't, in revisiting Sinnoh, I just don't think it captivates me that much. Yeah. Obviously, Platinum is the best of those 5 games, but even still, for as much as they are meaningful to me, I'd no longer put them in my tippy top tier Pokemon like I used to. No, absolutely. I mean, I would have put Pearl or Platinum in like my top 5 games, probably my top 1 game of all time at one point in my life. A very long time ago. But it's just over the years I've realized that there are a lot more, like it's less enjoyable. It's something I enjoy looking back on for the very great memories that I had with it. But it's not a game I want to play now, which a lot of I hold that very importantly in my favorite games of all time. That if I still think they're very good and hold up. And this is one of the very key examples of, I enjoyed it a lot, but revisiting it and looking back on it, now that I understand design a little bit better and have experienced a wider breadth of not only games but Pokemon games, there are things that pretty severely hold it back, but like still it's like Cynthia, like one of the best Pokemon characters, like that trio of starters are all great, and like that is like I can draw the fucking map of Sinnoh from memory. The soundtrack is phenomenal to Gen 4, maybe the best, but it's just fucking slow, and like some of the elements are boring. I just feel like a lot of it's left my mind. Yeah, a lot of Pokemon has left my mind. I don't remember the music. I don't remember Cynthia beyond her design. I just it doesn't mean to me now what it used to mean to me, or the way that I still revere some of the other Pokemon games. Some of the other Pokemon games I have above this. Some of them. Gold, Silver, Crystal, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, with a combined 42 million units sold. And repped on our list by Crystal. I say A tier. I say B tier. Okay. I say B tier because for me, Johto is how most people feel about most Pokemon regions. I'm like, Johto's fine. Like, the characters are fine. Like, I like the new Pokemon added by Johto actually quite a lot. They're one of my favorite batches. Might be my favorite batch Pokemon. But Johto as a region and the things that it adds, just, I mean, I guess I like being able to craft some Pokeballs out of the fucking the berries. What are they called? Apricorns. Apricorns, and I like Unknown Ruins. Like, there are a couple places in Johto that I remember fondly, but as an experience, I never really cared. And I also land on this side of that I don't think it's paced very well because there are 2 regions in it, and it makes it feel like kind of rushed and weird. And it's fine, and especially when you get to Heart Gold and Soul Silver, it's fine. But like, I have no reverence, and I think the other games do what it does better.
I don't think there's many games that are better in the series than these actually. Both Crystal and Heart Gold Soul Silver. I think Crystal's really really good. I'm largely of the camp of like, I think she goes by Tamahiro on YouTube now. Tamashi Hiroka used to be her handle, where she talks about the role playing opportunities of Pokemon Crystal, and I think that that's definitely true. Adding everybody to your phone and building relationships with them, and I think that the game, if we're talking about just Johto, does have a pretty good difficulty curve. Of course, Kanto does break this, but I also happen to really enjoy a lot of the locations, whether we're talking about Goldenrod City or the radio tower there, and I really love the narrative. This game has one of my favorite Pokemon narratives because it strikes this balance for me between it just being about you as a kid going off on your journey and seeing the world, but also having this plot line with Team Rocket, which is backgrounded but still there as a force. I think that these games, much like Ocarina of Time, to me, feel very iconic. And then you get to Heart Gold Soul Silver, and the pixel art is
they're amazing, yeah.
Absolutely stunning. The following Pokemon, the Pokewalker, everything that they add, I think that they are exemplary remakes. And so when you add all of this together, it's I think these are the games that strike this brilliant balance between very classic, old Pokemon and new Pokemon.
Yeah.
So I put them in A tier, but I'm happy in B tier too.
Okay.
Animal Crossing New Horizons.
I'm really confused on where we fucked up.
I don't think we did.
Super Mario Bros., Animal Crossing New Horizons, Pokemon, Mario Kart 8, and Wii Sports. And Smash Ultimate. We're Smash Ultimate. Did we pass over Smash Ultimate?
Yeah,
we did.
Smash Ultimate. That was my other mistake.
So Smash Ultimate was supposed to come just above, in terms of the order, Breath of the Wild.
Well, I'll put this list in the description so people can follow it in linear order. Let's just go back to Smash Ultimate because it's easy. It's going to S.
Yeah, absolutely it's going to S. I mean, I was remarking last night as the Sora Amiibo has now released.
Yeah.
And Sakurai has been talking about how Smash Ultimate's development is now finished. Of course, it was finished a while ago, but literally everything is done now. It might be one of the most impressive things that game development has ever done. And to me, it is the kind of growth in a series that really cements it as like basically untouchable. And I'm really excited to see what comes next, to see either if they're able to top it just by a Smash Ultimate, which by the same logic of Ultimate to Wii U, I would probably say would be better if it's just literally more stuff.
Yeah.
Or if they're able to retool Smash into something a little bit different and make it a reboot or something. But as it stands, it's hard to imagine a better game than Smash Ultimate.
Yeah, it's one of the most definitive games ever created, I think. I just... no praise we're going to give it that hasn't been said already. So easy A tier.
And what I'm really interested and excited about is to see in 15 years how I feel about Smash Ultimate. I'm sure obviously I'll have a lot of nostalgia for it, but if it hasn't been topped by that point and it continues to be ported and like grown a little bit, I think it will stick around. But it's one that where I feel like I feel the way that people about Smash Ultimate, the way that people feel about like Mario 3. It's like, it's not gonna be fucking topped. It's Mario 3. It's like it's one of the best fucking things ever. But and I feel that way about Smash Ultimate, and so I'm really excited to see if it is topped.
Yeah, I mean, I think it will be. I don't think that there's really any fighting game that's ever stayed definitive, truly.
Sure.
Ever.
Yeah.
Even something like Melee is a splinter community, right? And think about how long we release and re-release Street Fighter 2. We're on Street Fighter 6 now, right? There's gonna be
a great game.
It is a great game. There's going to be a lot of changes made, I think. I'd be interested to see Smash Brothers play just differently.
Absolutely.
I mean,
totally.
If it's a 3D fighter or if it's
just... hear me out. Smash characters and stages, but the mechanics are arms. Just get Donkey Kong, he's going whoop. And you get Kirby and his little Kirby nubs going whoop.
We're back on track now.
And also everything's announced by Biff.
Sure, I like Biff. We just add Biff to Smash Brothers. New Horizons. I put New Horizons in B tier.
I put it in S tier, and I'm using my rock paper scissors one.
Okay.
Because I feel strong enough to this. I guess I won't put it now, but
Big Gambit.
I'm like doubting myself, even though it's fucking random. How am I doubting myself? Oh.
Shit.
Yes. We've traded back our. Now you still technically have the chance to get an extra.
Yeah, I got 2 vetoes.
But this now means that it goes in S tier. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that. It goes in S tier. We're throwing another S tier here at the top.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to use my veto to try to move it back down.
Yeah.
That's fine.
We don't need to talk.
No.
And to me, it's one of those games where I feel like I don't really need to talk about it because it's another one of these games like Smash Ultimate is, where and Breath of the Wild, where to me it is a definitive experience. Like, obviously it's a very shared experience, one of the most shared single video game experiences of all time, but it feels it to me is what a video game needs to be for its time, of just one of the most important things to me from a time period of my life. I was fucking obsessed with that game, and still to this day, thinking back on the aesthetic and the music and the fun new characters they added, and the way that for me it really added to and enriched and the Animal Crossing idea of customization and town building to a degree that kept me like hooked on it till 2 a.m. for like 4 months straight, which very, very few games have. I mean, it's a absolutely like one of the most important games to me of all time, and so it's easily S tier.
Yeah, and I think it's fair to have it there, even if we're just trying to zoom out and apply some sort of objectivity where there is none to this list. But there's no doubt the significance of this game. And even if it's not in my opinion, the best, the best interpretation of the Animal Crossing formula, the joy intrinsic to the design and the joy that it brings to people are enough reasons for me to put a game in S tier. So that's I'm happy to not try to counter veto that. Super Mario Brothers, and the original Super Mario Brothers.
We played this game. We actually both played through this game together. We were on the call at the time. Earlier last year.
I'm putting it in D tier.
I will say C, but then that goes into D tier.
It was between C or D tier for me, but when I'm looking at what's in C tier right now, I think the Mario platformers that are there are better games.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah.
I just don't think... I think that Mario 1 just, for me, lacks...
Yeah.
And I mean that in a categorical way. It's just a lacking game for me. I don't really have much to say about it.
Yeah, I think I was just really surprised how little I enjoyed playing through it the last time I did. Because it is a game that, maybe because of the sort of cultural status of it and the discussion about it being one of the most important, and then sort of by extension one of the best games of all time, where I considered this one of my favorite games of all time for a long time. And it was kind of in my high school era where I was a retro kid, and I played Mario on NES, and nobody else in my age group does that. But so up until us playing through it last summer, I loved it. But playing through it, I realized I was not having fun playing the video game.
Yeah.
And I think that this game suffers quite a lot from other games taking its motifs. And so when I'm playing through its level designs, I'm like, it's the underground level, it's the underwater level, it's the level, like the overworld levels are just like bricks and bush occasionally, and so aesthetically, yes, it's iconic, but for me, that iconography does not outweigh none of the levels being memorable. Absolutely fucking none, other than 1-1.
Yeah. And
the boss battles are bad. They're not interesting boss battles, and I like the idea of the warp pipes, but it just means I get to play less of the game and get through it faster, and especially because I didn't discover the warp pipes. I knew about those, and so I didn't have the moment of like, oh, this is so cool that these secrets are in there, like Minus World. Like, I can imagine like discovering those being like amazing secret, but once it's like default knowledge, like I knew about those games before I'd even touched the NES controller, or those elements before I'd even touched the NES controller. It feels to me just like going through the motions of, the controls are fine, and the pixel art is good for its time, and it's iconic, and the music is good. I like Koji Kondo's score, but it does nothing to me that no other game in its series does, even just a modicum better.
I feel that Ocarina of Time is iconic, but it's, and you can make the argument that its iconography has been used in more interesting ways later, but the level to which Ocarina of Time is realized is extremely impressive to me. And I want to be in that Hyrule. Sure. I don't really feel any pull to be in this iteration of the Mushroom Kingdom. And I just think that
because it barely feels like a place.
At a certain point, the criticism is moot because this is one of the first games to ever operate on this scale.
Of course.
But I just feel like it's one of those things where it lacks a reason for me to want to revisit.
Absolutely.
And I think that's one of the worst things for me as somebody who does replay games quite often. Totally. And that brings us to the top three. Pokemon Red, Green, Blue, and Yellow.
Yes.
And Fire Red and Leaf Green.
Yes. And explicitly not Let's Go and Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, which we obviously already placed on here.
I go A tier.
I go F tier.
You go F tier?
I think that Pokemon Red is not a fun video game to play.
What are your thoughts on Fire Red and Leaf Green?
I mean, they're better. I mean, pixel art is better. The world is a little more realized, but I think Kanto is a boring region. I think it's poorly designed.
Yeah.
I have no reverence, interest, or connection in the designs of those first 151 Pokemon. It to me is what Super Mario Bros. Is for Pokemon.
Sure.
To where it does not play better than any other game that came after it. I do not enjoy its region more than any other game that came after it. I mean, I guess I like some of the music, and there are obviously some Pokemon from the Kanto decks that I like, but it to me just stands as like, this was the first time they tried it, and goddamn, it was really cool that they did this for the first time.
Yeah.
But there's no reason for me to play through Kanto, a region I like less and think is worse designed than any other fucking game in this series.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because it's what I was saying about Ocarina of Time for me. I do like how Kanto is realized. I love going the SSN and the routes are contiguous and they're not the towns aren't as varied as they are in the newer games, because I think this game has a sense of naturalism about it. That Kanto does too, that Johto does too, but I think obviously begins in Kanto. But this game, to me, but
I think you just don't need to necessarily sacrifice naturalism for variety.
I'm not saying you have to, but I'm just saying that I like the naturalism, and that's what I'm trying to explain. Yeah. I like that this game distills down to, I am a kid, and I'm going out into this big world of nature, and I'm going to meet some people, I'm going to have to fight Team Rocket, and I'm going to work my way through this big place. And I do like the 151 decks. I mean, it's a subjective thing. I don't have nostalgia for it the way I've had nostalgia for the Gen 4 decks, but I think that there's a simple mastery about these games. Now, not necessarily Red, Blue, and Yellow. Yeah. I don't have a lot of fun revisiting them either. It's kind of fun to glitch around, get a Mew early, and play the game with Mew or whatever, but what I'm...
done that?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
You can do that in the 3DS versions, actually. But what I'm really defending is Fire Red and Leaf Green, which are some of my favorite in the series. So I think we're going to have to take this to... Well, I'm going to have to ask you an honest question.
Yeah.
Have you used all your vetoes now?
I have.
You have? Oh, you have?
Yeah.
Okay, never mind.
I did my trivia one. Yeah. We did our rock, paper, scissors, and I did my ultimate one.
Okay, we're good. Then this works out fine.
Yeah.
I'm going to take you to trivia.
Okay. For Pokemon.
For this.
Oh shit! I didn't know you cared that much.
I have my ultimate veto still. Yeah. I've got 2 vetoes. So I'm saving my ultimate veto for what it needs to be used on. Yeah.
So I got to hit you. I didn't even realize you. Are you sure you didn't use more than one?
The only veto I used was to try to get Scarlet and Violet into F tier.
Oh yeah.
So. I'm trying to match the question to the level of question you gave me. And this is for a big one. This is for a really big one. Oh, would you know that? Okay, this is about the same tier.
Okay.
What is the name? And if this is too niche, tell me, and I'll give you a different question.
Okay, all right.
We'll, gentleman's agreement here. Yeah. What is the name of the theme park host in Nintendo Land?
Now, I can get most of the syllables of this character's name. Mm-hmm. It's like Anita or something like that. Amita. So it's something like that. I think I have the general structure of the name. Is that close enough for me to get it?
Let me...
That is very close to the right track, correct?
Yeah, I want to verify that I'm right.
What did you think it was?
I thought it was Mona. Now, if I'm wrong,
wait. Oh shit.
I just forfeit.
No, you might be right. Mona. No, Mona's from WarioWare.
think it's both.
Maybe I'm getting mixed up with something. What is it? What is it?
It's Monita.
Oh, shit! Okay, I actually did get most of the syllables, but I got the back half of the syllables.
Put an F.
No, I'm not going to put it off. I think because literally we were split down the fucking middle on this character's name. By the way, a game that you like a lot more than me, so it's a lot funnier that you got it partially right than I got it partially right. So I think we can. See. Yeah, I think we can balance out.
That's fair enough. The other one I was going to give you is what's.
I try to answer it.
Yeah, the other one I was going to give you is what's the name of the mascot of Swap Note?
Nikki.
Yeah.
I
thought that Nikki would be too easy.
No, yeah, that's a little bit easier because she's a sis trophy in Smash.
The trivia question I was going to give you, and then I changed it on the fly, was what is the name of the hamster that is on the box art for Animal Crossing New Leaf and likes lifting weights?
I think I had him in my town for a little while.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
His name is Hamlet.
Hamlet, yeah.
And then I was like, fuck, that's not a fair question. So then I was like, I tried to think on the fly. I'm like, Monita. I can't believe I said Mona.
Yeah. we that's impressive that we were literally like, we were part of it. Together, we had the name.
That's a funny that's a funny outcome.
And it made the game stick in the middle.
Yeah.
That's the best outcome.
That is the best outcome. Next one is Mario Kart 8, which is a moot point because I use my ultimate veto to put
of course you do. Of course you do. I mean, from the very beginning, I knew you were going to do that.
As an academic exercise, where would you have put Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
A B, like a high B. It's a very good game, and I've enjoyed playing it. What I have, it's just like simply that genre does not do anything for me, but it is absolutely the best of what that can be. And so I've got no qualms with Mario Kart 8 other than it's a racing game. Pretty big issue, but it's not an issue. Like I would still put it in a top tier Switch games.
Sure.
I have no problem with people saying Mario Kart Deluxe is one of the best games ever made. I'm like, yeah, it is. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, yeah, that's fine. I mean, the only thing I'll say about the game, it is in my top 5 games of all time. I think that it is the ultimate, up there with the likes of Wii Sports Resort, the ultimate all ages, all demographics, endlessly replayable Nintendo game. Especially 8 Deluxe with steering assist, so anybody can enjoy the game. A real actual battle mode, and then obviously 96 more tracks. It's a definitive game for me. I think the racing has never felt better. The art direction, particularly in the Booster Course Pass, I think is just astounding. And I love so many of the new tracks introduced by the game. It's one of the games I've played the most.
Absolutely, yeah.
I can't get enough of it. I'm so excited that we are probably now finally on the precipice of the next Mario Kart game.
We are. And that, for me, I think is the most exciting thing, is because I like Mario Kart 8. I like Mario Kart Deluxe. Yeah. I played quite a bit of it when it was one of the early Switch games, and I didn't have much else to do, and I'd beaten Zelda, and I'd gotten my fill of arms or whatever. And I played a good amount of it. It's fun. But to me, it's very much my issue with some of these other games like Mario Bros. or Ocarina of Time. I like this game more than those. But in that, it's been around so long that it's like, yeah, I know all this shit. Like, I'm looking at the fucking stages, I'm like, yeah, I've fucking been there, I've done that. Like, it's not exciting for me to go through these tracks the 100th time because the game has been out for a decade and has been popular for a decade. And so I'm really excited to start fresh. For me, as a interested in Nintendo games, Mario Kart 9 could really be very important to me. To introduce me to the series with something that feels completely fresh and new. With what we've seen, their art direction game has been like fucking tripled, as we've seen from the couple new stages in the Booster Course pack, like the bathroom one
and the Yoshi's Island.
These are phenomenal stages that for me resonate a lot deeper and more interestingly than some of the other ones. Of course, the other stages are good. I'm not belittling the stage design of Mario Kart 8, but if that's the kind of game they're bringing in terms of we're just doing we're throwing shit at the wall, we're going fucking crazy with the art direction, I could really be into Mario Kart 9. New mechanics that have never been done before, new characters we've never seen before. It could be very special to me.
Yeah,
but Mario Kart 8 is not special to me.
Yeah, I certainly hope you love Mario Kart 10, technically, or whatever they end up calling it. I would love...
Why don't they just go 11?
I guess they go 1.
Like Mortal Kombat. MK1.
But yeah, I would really love if you ended up really being captivated with the next game, and it's a game we played regularly.
And especially if it has some sort of fucking... like mission mode or Diddy Kong racing style,
it'd be great
adventure, whatever. I like that. That would really cement it for me. I'm not getting my hopes up for that, but it's certainly possible.
I don't think it's impossible, especially after they brought back battle mode. I think that 8 Deluxe in particular definitely responds a lot to issues people had with not only the last game of the series overall. I feel so. And then you think about how they're innovating in terms of track design for Tour with branching paths and how they innovated
with character customization for Tour as well, which I think is probably going to happen in the next game.
Yeah, I mean, technically, I don't think it's character customization. I think it's just different. Like Captain Toad's just a different character. But in Mario Kart 8, there is character customization where you can choose your different color shine guy and everything. So it's an idea I'm sure they'll take further in the Mii racing suits and things. So yeah, in the one lap multi stage, one big lap multi part tracks they've experimented with, I think that they're really poised to refine down to their best ideas, similar to Wonder.
Sure, absolutely, definitely. It's because it's been so goddamn long. It's been so long.
But I think it's a testament to the quality of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that it is still played by so many people so regularly, so long after release.
And is not only played by but bought by.
Yeah,
more people buy it. This is like Minecraft, GTA 5, and Mario Kart 8 are like the games that just don't stop selling. Yeah. People keep finding free games.
And that brings us, Tucker, to the last game we're placing here, which is Wii Sports.
Yeah. At 13 million more than Mario Kart 8.
Yeah, 82 million units. An astounding number. Of course, curried by the fact that the vast majority of Wii's ever sold came bundled with it. But I put Wii Sports in A tier.
Okay, I'll put it in B tier.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think that my love for Wii Sports could be changed once I get more into Wii Sports Resort.
Yeah.
For the Wii Sports as a fucking its own genre, essentially. Sure. But Wii Sports is good. I it's one of those first games that I remember getting into because of the vibes of it. Like, I loved being on that court and hearing those noises and being on the golf course. I loved Wii Sports Golf in terms of the weather, the wind rustled, and there was all the holes and stuff. I love holes. But it also is a game that I never movie. No, the book. I'm more of a novel guy. I don't like movies that much. But it's not a package I think about very much. It's like I'm like, the boxing was kind of cool. I like watching the little slices of the health go down, like ching ching ching. I like that. But it was kind of just golf and boxing for me that I genuinely really liked. I was never really into bowling. I was never really into tennis.
Baseball is, I think, the one I played the most.
Baseball. I must have played it, but I never think about Wii Sports Baseball. It's just good. It's charming childhood fun for me, but not much more than that.
Yeah, it goes back to, again, just my love of simple games. I think that you say what you want about how you can waggle through some of the sports. Waggling
that's not an issue that happens.
Yes, waggling is frankly part of the fun. I think, again, I just really value a game that everybody can love. Mm-hmm. And I think everyone can love Wii Sports, and there's no undervaluing the importance of this game and the fact that it really does represent and was the first step in a Nintendo design philosophy that's among my favorites that they've ever implemented. Sure. A game I played a ton of as a kid, a game I would go play right now if you wanted to play Wii Sports. I'm happy with it in B. I'd put it up in A, but I think that's good.
Sure.
But
name.
We did it.
Easy does it.
We did it. What do you think overall?
Yeah, I'm happy with this. Yeah.
We
used all our fucking vetoes.
Do you want to put Pokemon Red and Pokemon Scarlet in F tier?
Do I want to do that?
Do you want Gen 1 in... Because we both use our vetoes to stop this decision. Shit. See what I'm saying? I wanted to put Gen 9 in F. You wanted it up in you put it in A. I wanted Gen 1 in A. You put it in F and in C. I'm happy to give us both something of what we want to have, because there's nothing in the F tier right now.
Yeah.
For a little goof, if you would like to, I'm happy for both Gen 1 and Gen 9 to be an F. I'll leave that up to you.
Well, that's really interesting.
I think it'd be interesting.
I think it would be... Yeah, fine. It's fine.
We both get what we want.
Yeah, sure. Now, I will be frank.
Yeah.
I was being unnecessarily aggressive with my Pokemon Red being an F tier.
Okay.
I was doing that just to fucking, incredibly counter you.
Sure.
I don't think it's one of the worst games ever made. And I don't think... I mean, I'd certainly rather play fucking Pokemon Red than Duck Hunt or Nintendogs. But I I have a kind of a vitriol against that.
No,
game.
I know you do.
Because I do feel like it is unfairly championed. And I think there are some severe criticisms that I have with it that I feel like entirely ignored. And so I feel like I need to be like, no, this is like really bad for people to fucking take me seriously.
And this is why both these games would be an F, because I feel the exact same way about Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. Except for the idea of my actual opinion is high, my actual opinion is F. But I like the idea that we get Gen 1 and Gen 9 and F.
Yes.
I think that this is a good list.
Yeah.
I would change things about it. I think for my own fun, I might make my own list.
Sure. I'll do the same.
We can just put it at the end of just so people can see what our own unabridged, uncompromised, not having to play politics lists would be. But
I don't know how much. I don't know if it'll change that much, to be honest.
Yeah. I'm just gonna it'll take me a couple minutes. I'm just curious what mine would look like. But I think this is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Please share yours. I don't know if you probably didn't say it at the end of the video. Or you might have actually fast forwarded to the end of the video to see the tier list. So if you did, make your version, put it in our Discord, and we'll compare. But
and I don't want you to tell us we were wrong, because we already know we were wrong. Tell us we're right.
Or tell us the most lukewarm takes on the list.
That's not fun at all.
Adios.